Welcome back to the Bionicle Inspiration series. We showcase the work of the LEGO community to give you some inspiration. And today, all of these MOCs, they use custom masks. Whether that's 3D printed masks or resin cast masks, whatever they are, these are non-official faces. But they do look really cool. And hey, a good mask can be like the perfect addition for a new Bionicle creation. Sadly, we don't get any new masks these days because there aren't any construction sets to give us new masks. So custom masks is a really nice alternative, isn't it? So let's see how the community uses some of these pieces and see if it gives you some ideas. Starting off with a MOC called Makuta Venatrix X Dark Hunter by Draconus. So this MOC has an exceptional color scheme. We've got things like silver and medium blue, which looks lovely, but it's complemented very nicely by a very notable color here, which is pearl sand blue. So this is a pretty rare color. It only really appears in like 1 or 2 sets. One of the more notable sets it appears in where you get a good amount of that color is the Technic Super Battle Droid set, which is such a good set. It is an older set, and I think it does demand a little bit of a hefty price, unfortunately. I'd have to check Bricklink, it's been a while since I've seen. Still, if you want a really interesting color to play with, I recommend buying this set because you get a really nice helping of this really interesting color. Now, we can also see a few knight armor pieces being used on this MOC that are also in that lovely pearl sand blue color. These come on the fantastic Knights Kingdom 2 set, Sir Santus. So from my understanding, these were basically the only sets to include this rather rare color. Maybe there's more that I'm blanking on right now, but more or less these 2 sets, they're pretty much it. So yeah, it's great to see this color in action, and it's nice to note that yes, silver and medium blue, they complement it very nicely. So, you know, if you do have some of these sets lying around with these colors, now you know some other colors that pair nicely with it. But okay, if you did build something with this color scheme, what the heck are you going to do for the mask? There's just not that much out there that's going to work for a face design. So yeah, it's times like this where a custom mask really is your best choice. And look, the sleek angles of this mask, the teeth at the base of the mouth, they perfectly complement the like spider-like appendages and the rough spider aesthetic that's going on here. Yeah, there's a wonderfully creepy and sinister aesthetic that this mask really helps bring out on this MOC. It really is the perfect finishing touch to this creation. And we can also see that this MOC has some lights in their eyes. That nice pop of pink, it looks lovely. This is great stuff. Taio by Artie Quill is up next. And yeah, I love this mask. The mouth area, the color, the rough shape of it, it kind of reminds me of Maxilos's mask. And I love that a custom mask can offer you like a slight variation or like have similar qualities to other masks. You know, that way it offers you a nice alternative. I mean, looking at Maxilos's face, it's compact, the eyes are narrow, so they have a bit more of a sinister flair to them, and then the little breathing apparatus on the side there, well, it's perfect if you want to build an underwater character. But maybe you don't want that breathing apparatus on the MOC that you're making, and you're like, it puts too much of a water context to it, it looks too evil, it's not really what I want, but I want the same kind of energy. Well, a mask like the custom one we're looking at here, that's perfect, right? Maybe you want a mask with longer side panels flowing down the edges of the mask, like this has. I mean, heck, that area, it actually complements and mirrors that waistcoat that we see on this MOC's torso. It really does fit this design quite well. So yeah, a good 3D printed mask or resin cast mask, whatever kind of custom mask you're making, or that you're buying online on Etsy, Shapeways, wherever you want to buy it, it can better complement the look and feel that you're trying to emulate on your latest creation. Now let's talk a bit about the build itself. I love this shoulder design, using the jetpack piece here that we also see on Liwa Fantoka's shoulders. It's a very clever part use. And then we can also see some smaller wheel pieces on the upper arm, and on the lower arm we can see a much bigger wheel piece. But hey, the 3 of those pieces together that we just talked about, that's a great design. The submission for this creation also showcased this character in his Matoran form, and I adore the idea of using Onawa Mystica's mask as a kind of like welding mask that you like flip up or flip down. That's honestly such a clever use for that mask, probably one of the best uses I've ever seen, honestly. And I love too how that kind of fits the context of a Matoran of fire. So clever and so creative. Alright, now for Helx, and this is built by Turaga Maxel. So this mask is cool, it's got some early G1 vibes to it. I love those like 3 circles with the line going through them on the forehead, the interesting stripes on the sides. It just looks really cool. Now, if you're not familiar with Helx, she's a very important character in the Bionicle lore. For ages, she didn't really have a canon look. She was just a character that existed in like books and other stories. We never physically saw a depiction of her. But then we did get a more or less official look of her somewhat recently in some of the canon contests. And this final design was actually even approved by Greg himself, so, you know, it's about as official as you can get. Still, there's many other characters out there that are in the Bionicle story that were never given an official look. So why not use custom masks and other interesting designs to make these characters? And that way you don't have to recycle like existing masks. You can treat them as if they were like a new Bionicle set that would have a brand new mask. Because hey, if Helx ever did appear in a set, you know she would have been given her own unique mask. So a custom one like this, it's probably the closest you'll get. And look, is this accurate to the official image of this character? Not as much, but who cares? Build your own interpretation of these characters, that's half of the fun. I love how this looks. So hey, if you love the Bionicle story, a good custom mask, it'll help bring some of your favorite characters to life. Phenom Headhunter by Kaylee Rainbow Recluse is next. And I love the energy of this mask. The sleek angles, the sharp lines that ebb and flow around the mouth and up towards the top of the head. It has a similar energy to some of the Toa Mystica. Yeah, this mask, it brings up imagery of flying Toa. And hey, given the sick jet engines that are sticking out of their back, I get the sense that this character is meant to be able to fly. Isn't that cool? A mask that perfectly aids the backstory and the powers that this character has? That's wonderful. This gun arm is also a lovely little addition. The silver colors, the tubing, the chain, it just looks really great. Now, look, maybe you could have built this in the same red and Keat orange color scheme that the rest of the mock has, but honestly, the silver and the black, it works. It makes sense that this kind of thing would be a different color, and it's just a nice little accent of color. It helps break things up a little bit. I do really like this torso design, might be my favorite part of this mock. Using those tiny CCBS bone pieces, they look like tiny little pistons. It's a design like this on the torso, it reminds me of how the early Toa Mata torsos used to look. Anytime people make a torso design that mirrors that, it always fills me with joy. There's something about that that's so in the vein of classic Bionicle. And hey, the fact that it's on a ball and socket system, it means that this could move and flex. So it looks good, it poses well, it's just a win-win situation. Such a dynamic character. Bionicle MOCs has built the Bacteria. So if you're unfamiliar with the Bacteria, they were like shape-shifting creatures and they were made specifically by the Great Beings to end a specific war. I believe it was the Core War, so not 100% sure if it's that specific battle, but still. Yeah, look, there's a lot more lore to them in the Bionicle story, but that's the gist. And also at one point, the Bacteria was supposed to appear as a set in 2010, but obviously that never happened because Bionicle was cancelled and da-da-da-da-da. And you know what? This is a character that I love a lot. I remember reading the wiki about these guys back in the day and thinking they looked so cool and loving the story for them. If I could go back in time and change LEGO's mind and say, hey, release one more Bionicle set, I'd make it this guy. I love these dudes so much. So hey, it's great to see a mock that showcases what they could have looked like. And the way that this is built, it kind of looks like how it potentially could have as a set. And hey, you're gonna need a custom mask to capture that iconic face design that they have. And look at this mask too. The texture of it, the colors of it, it matches official LEGO pieces very nicely. And look at that eye design, the way it flares up the side like that. So sick. Look, this is a very simple mock, but it just looks really good. And I like it when people build mocks that are a little bit more in the style of how it would appear as a set. That's such a unique and fun challenge, isn't it? And it always looks good. Yeah, this is wonderful stuff. And finally, Katorak. They've built Toa Ord Prototype Toa version 2. Now this custom mask, I think it's got a good aesthetic to it. Very detailed with lots of lines and edges and crevices. It almost looks a bit like an old wrinkled face. And isn't it cool that it mirrors a lot of the designs that we see on the rest of the body of this character? I mean, check out these gold details. Yeah, like this leg design, for example. Building in a lot of those T-pneumatic tube pieces in gold, it really looks like some sort of ornately crafted armor with very fine detailing to it and like gold refinements. This is just such a distinct aesthetic that I've never really seen before. Plus it's a gorgeous color scheme, pearl gold and dark blue, lovely. And I like that this aesthetic, it also mirrors the look of the mask. It's a little bit different, but there's still similar vibes going on. Yeah, what a beautiful creation. And this hammer design is great as well. I like the energy core inside it, the fact that it's this big old mace. And again, it's also copying similar techniques and similar pieces that we see on the body. There's just good consistency all throughout this entire creation. It's really special. It was lovely to see a whole bunch of mocks today that use custom masks. So do you think you're going to pick some up on like Etsy or Shapeways or a variety of other different places that sell custom masks? You can even find some on eBay these days. Because like we saw today, there's a lot of great stuff you can do with a good custom mask. So be sure to check the links in the description below. I'll have links to everyone that I featured today. Check out some of their other work, maybe leave a like or comment on their posts, and let them know what you think of the awesome stuff that they've built. Also in the description below is the submission email. It's also on your screen right now. If you'd like to see one of your MOCs featured on the Bionicle Inspiration series, that's the way to submit it to the show. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Happy building, and bye for now.